Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Weekend Big Show. This episode's entitled 12 Hours Earlier, as we are not 9 in the morning on a Friday, but 9 at night on a Thursday night. Thursday night football going on, baseball still swinging in there, and Jeremy Schroeder, the ruler of the airwaves, joining me as he always does. We are streaming live on Facebook, so be sure and give us your comments, questions, or critiques. I'm going to lay off the two random dudes thing this week for you. So,
but you brought it up anyways.
Jeremy's sporting the flaming, the fighting LeChonklas hat that he said he got today. That's always a classic.
Oh yeah, man, awesome hat. It's the San Antonio Missions alternate.
Yeah,
the flying Chonklas.
You gotta love San Antonio, and I don't care what Charles Barkley says.
Big women.
Those people get it. I don't care what they say, because the thing is La Llorona, who is the witch, the crying witch or whatever that drags you to hell or whatever. They made a horror movie out of it. But then also the chancla is one of the most feared things in Hispanic culture. I mean,
it is.
I mean, there are kids that go to bed at night and have nightmares about La Chancla. So anyways, well, I can't get the live to pull up on our page on Facebook. So, but when I look at my personal page, it's there. So I don't.
I'm sitting here looking at it.
Yeah. Well, I'll trust you to handle the comments for a while. How about that?
Waiting on them to roll in.
Waiting on a woman. So before we get into OU Tennessee previews and OSU Utah previews, we got to give a hats off tonight to LA Dodgers Shohei Ohtani, 50-50 on the season, first in MLB history. I could have, so 40-40 was the old standard.
Only a couple of guys did that.
Was Brian Jordan a 40-40 guy?
I think he was a 30-30 guy. Sammy Sosa was a 40-40 guy.
Uh-huh.
Jose Canseco was a 40-40 guy. Steroid era guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Shohei could be a 50-50, 150, 20 guy.
Yeah.
20 wins, 50 bombs, 50 steals.
This season?
Well, he's got at least 50 hits. Sure. When you pull up his numbers.
Who was the guy who used to give grief on the Rangers?
Joey Gallo.
That's more than a Joey Gallo season.
Yeah, I'm sure he's hitting for a decent average. I mean, good Lord, the guys. He might be the best baseball player that we've seen in our lifetime.
Aaron Rodgers just scrambled for a first down, brought down out of bounds.
So I'm going to say right now he's hitting 290 with 50 home runs as of today.
290 in this era is like 340.
He's got 173 hits, Chuck.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, we're in September. He's not going to get 200 hits, but I mean, for a power hitter, to hit 10 points shy of 300 with,
Well, I mean, and the thing about it is you don't look to walk anymore. You're swinging. So he's obviously making contact. I don't have his stats pulled up, and I didn't want to get
I'm looking at him
deep, but I mean, I'm sure his WAR or his
OPS is 978 this season.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. And
out of 1,000.
So those guys that used to hit 320 and hit 30 or 40 maybe.
Sure.
Or hit 20.
Like Prime Pujols.
Yeah.
Who was the best hitter I've ever seen.
And they were taking some walks. How many walks does Ohtani have on the season?
Let me effort that. Of course, it doesn't have base on balls. Yeah. Walks. Base on. Okay. So this season, he has walked 77 times.
Okay.
It's not like he's not walking. He walked 91 times last year. 72 the year before. He walked 96 in 21.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in 20, they only played 50 games, so he had 22 walks.
Yeah.
and then injury years. So he walks fairly often. I mean, more often than your typical, than your Joey Gallo style power hitter
Or
that's
your
going to hit
Aaron Judge.
200 and strike out 300 times.
Sure. Well, he's a phenom. I mean, you can hate on him all you want. That's pretty stunning. I don't care what the analytics has people doing. I don't care what the style of the play is anymore. That's
And
pretty
I struck out 158 times.
okay. Well, how many times did Tony Gwynn strike out over a career?
I think less than that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
When Tony Gwynn retired, he could have gone 0 for 1100
still
and
batted 300.
still batted 300 for
Yeah,
his career.
yeah. But he wasn't going to give you power. I mean, and that's where
He'd give you power if he wanted to. That just
sure.
wasn't how he hit.
Yeah. Just for public notice and transparency, we're going to start dwindling down the Law Dog Sports Facebook page. I have had all kinds of a debacle trying to switch over or combine. So I started the long story longer. I started the original page I ever started was for a syndicated radio show I did called Texas Dance Hall Radio. And I built that page up to about 3,000 followers. Since that syndicated show went away, it became it's had any semblance of other pages. But I started this page, Law Dog Sports, as the Law Dog Shooting Sports Podcast, which included a different person. Well, somewhere along the way, I started the page and didn't make myself or my LLC the sole proprietor. So now I can't merge pages without basically sending Zuckerberg my date of birth, my ID, a utility bill, and a signed affidavit, maybe notarized. I don't know that they're both my pages. I'm like, screw off. So out of spite, we are going to close down probably towards the end of the month this Law Dog Sports page, and we will broadcast to, and really, I'm honestly, Jeremy, we could just become a Facebook or a YouTube live program for people to interact with, because at the essence, we're a podcast. We're available on SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. That's how we started, but we interacted with our fan.
And Dan said 32, and I don't really know what he's talking about.
32. See, that's the thing about this. Where can I find comments on? Because I can't get.
Well, okay, so I'm having some issues here. The live I'm watching keeps going off the air, and so I'll have to go back to the Law Dog Sports page and click on the Law Dog logo to get back to the live.
It is unbelievable. And trust me, I have been on the verge of just, pulling the plug on my internet provider. I mean, shoot, Elon, if he's not tweeting about presidential assassinations, I think he's got a pretty good product with that Starlink.
Dan, it was more than 32, but it wasn't many more than 32. Tony Gwynn was he was a contact merchant. He was incredible.
Yeah, just an amazing
greatest hitters, from that era.
Really the only guy that Ted Williams respected in the game, wasn't it?
Yes. You know who was a great hitter that I loved to watch hit was Edgar Martinez.
Yeah, Edgar was great. He was
Pujols.
Was Edgar's time completely with the Mariners, just about?
Most of his career, yeah. I think he may have come up with somebody else, but he was with the Mariners for a long time. And that guy, wow. I mean, just amazing.
Yeah, I think he may have come up with somebody. Facebook. Okay, so I've got it pulled up. It'll probably crash my computer, but we'll work around it.
Marty Wandry says you need new internet. No, I agree. And we lost it again. Let me click on the Facebook icon.
So
go to my name.
I'm keeping you, but Lenny Roland. Let's go to YouTube. We probably will make the transition at the end of the month, just as a YouTube broadcast. And if everybody will follow us, that'll be great. And then we'll have the links to the podcast episodes on the Law Dog Sports Podcast Facebook page, and as well as our Twitter.
And Ted Williams may be the greatest American to have ever lived.
Marty Wandry, yeah, he fought in what, 3 wars?
He's an ace fighter pilot,
Yeah.
and he hit
Yeah.
406. I mean, come
Uh-huh.
on.
Marty Wandry, Clinton Liquor, if he notices the ball cap I'm wearing tonight. And Jeremy, he put a Facebook post up earlier, just a little bit earlier. Crown Royal Blackberry. My gosh, that's that could be a deadly combination.
Sure. Yeah, make Crown Royal taste good.
Yeah.
Wow. No, thank you.
Can I give you a whiskey confession?
Sure.
Are you a bourbon guy or you?
Not really. No.
Yeah. I like.
I, I can be, but
Yeah.
it's just like, I'm a lightweight anymore. So
Yeah, me too. I like Jameson's and ginger ale. I'll plug some Jameson in the eggnog when it's holiday time. But I've gone to restaurants and had old fashions.
yeah.
And my take on it is, why don't I just get straight bourbon? All that work you put into it doesn't
just church it up and you still taste suburban.
Exactly. I mean, if you like an old fashioned, then just order a bourbon. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. But so anyways, we got a lot to get into, Jeremy. But
see if Marty's got a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 with my name on it.
The old MD. Give me a kind of Panica day. Anyways,
anything's better than watermelon clubby, Lenny. Anything.
Oh, what's clubby? Oh,
clubby is a golf seltzer. It's
okay.
It's got electrolytes. It's like Brondo with alcohol.
Yeah. I tried that seltzer that was put out by the large drive-in establishment in Oklahoma.
Yeah, doesn't quite hold up, does it?
It was awful. I mean, truly, truly awful.
I'm a big ocean water fan, and I tried that, and it was
that was the one that
it was so bad.
Yeah. Weatherford is getting an Angry Joe's. Is it Angry Hank's Nashville chicken or Hangry? Wow, gosh, what is it?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's that Nashville style chicken that everybody's on.
Nashville style. I think I've had that before, and I did like it.
Is it like a buffalo chicken?
It is, yes.
Pickles and stuff.
Okay. Yeah,
that's good. It'd be good once in a while.
Nashville hot, yeah.
Marty, I'll bring it to the game Saturday. Yeah, we're gonna have to connect you guys up at Owen Field. Are you going to the game Saturday?
I'm not going this weekend, man.
Okay.
It's gonna be last time there's a night game. I got in way too late. Had to get up way too early. Got to be responsible. Watch it on TV.
So that was the night your cuñado was driving you. Lenny was driving you home.
Yes, as Lenny was driving us home, and we had spotty internet connection across campus.
Kind of like out in Western Oklahoma, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyways, so following the comments, thanks Marty, thanks Lenny, thanks Dan Narva checking in. We're going to do some real preview here tonight. And what would you like to get into first? OSU, Utah, or OU, Tennessee?
Well, do you just want to get into the OU Tennessee game and hear me bitch for a few minutes about our fellow Sooner fans and the Eeyore fans of this state?
Well, I mean, I'm probably going to irritate you tonight.
I'm going to irritate you too, because I believe Brent has, and I don't want to say successfully because I don't like it, he's entered that phase of his career where he's hiring his buddies.
Brent Venables?
Yep.
So you're talking about the Seth Luttrell hire?
I'm talking about the Seth Luttrell hire. I have not understood or figured out what the game plan is in 3 straight games. I just don't. I don't see what he's
been quick.
You think?
I mean,
now okay, maybe they get Hickman, Josh Bates, and who's the other kid coming back this week? They get those guys back this week, and it could be a totally.
Roberts coming back.
Yeah, I think so. I think 3 of them are coming back this week.
Mm-hmm.
They get those guys back, it could be a completely different story.
Yeah,
because they're highly limited on what they can do. Sawchuk is listed as a starter. He has not done much this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's simply a thing where he just can't get his juices going until late in the year, because that's been his entire career at OU. He's great the second half of the season. First half of the season, he's either banged up or ineffective. The defense is good. Defense will be good enough to keep him in the game. My frustration lies solely with the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, I mean, let's get into it real quick, okay?
sure.
So, Josh Heupel brings in a team that right now, going into this game, is second in the nation in total yards,
Mm-hmm.
29th in passing yards, fifth in rushing, and first in points scored. Okay, what? Was it Middle Tennessee or Tennessee Chattanooga their first game?
They are a good team, but I know where you're going.
No,
They played UTC. They played an NC State team that was massively overrated.
well, that's every year. I mean,
And who did
with
they
North
play this
Carolina
last
State,
weekend?
Kent State,
Kent.
71-0.
It's maybe the worst team in America.
Yeah, 51-10 over NC State. So there's a lot that's unproven.
Tennessee has a fine football team.
Yeah.
Are they going to come in and beat OU by 40 points in Norman? I doubt it. I mean, I've seen that. OU's just going to get
So the spread is
outclassed.
6.5. Vegas believes that OU is in essence really
It came back a little bit.
9. Yeah, I've got it.
It was up to
7.5.
7.5.
Okay. So Vegas basically believes Tennessee's 10 points better, right? Because you
Sure.
get 3 points being at home.
Now, using my noodle, I'm not touching that game.
Oh no.
No.
I mean, it was on the Law Dog Sports college football pick'em, but you got to pick it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to reveal who I picked. But
Well, I'm not, I'm not taking money out of my wallet to place on that game,
Mm-mm.
that point spread of that line. I just think there's too much. Man, I know OU's I know what OU's defense is.
Yeah.
And I know they're going to give Emi Alieva some problems.
It will definitely be his hardest test so far.
And I know Marty's probably going to get told to sit down by some old lady sitting behind him at the game because that's how the Owen Field experience goes. Let's see. Lenny says, "Can we first agree that nobody cares about this game tonight?" Well, Jets and Patriots
Just
fans
fantasy
care.
owners and Aaron Rodgers detractors.
I don't have a dog in the fight, but I do like watching Ramondre Stevens play.
Yeah. And I'll say this: I personally would love to see the Patriots become relevant again without Bill Belichick or Tom Brady.
I would too.
Yeah.
Steve Anderson wants to know what we predict the total points are going to be. Was it 56.5 was the total that was?
56.5 is, I'll take the over.
Give me the under.
You're going under.
Well, I mean, if Tennessee wins 51-0, then it's going to be under, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm thinking we're looking at like a 28-21 game. I don't think either team's going to just go off offensively. I think both defenses are. First off, OU's offensively challenged, but their defense is really good.
Brennan Thompson listed as questionable. Andrew Anthony and I thought Nick Anderson were listed as probable.
They were listed as, I think they were listed, probable. Anderson, him, and Bates, Roberts, one of the offensive linemen.
Now, I saw a stat that somebody posted on Twitter that was trolling OU fans, and it was their strength of schedule.
Aren't they about the same?
I was going to say
Tulane's the highest rated team either of them have played.
Yeah,
Tulane's at 48th in the FPI.
What's North Carolina State?
They're not 48th.
Max Patton says take the
I think
under.
they're 72nd.
Tennessee 17, OU 7. Ouch. Lenny Rowland, I think Houston better than they get credit for. Still believe it's Sooner Magic OU by
and Lenny, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I don't think Houston's any good at all. I just simply don't think that OU prepared for them as they should have.
Well, I mean, we could see a Houston team progress.
Sure.
Because it's a school in Texas, and they,
I know they got guys. Donovan Smith, we saw him play, and we know he can play a little bit. I mean, is he Alan Bowman? No. Is he? He's adequate. He can give you problems with the way he can move around. He's got a good arm, but the way, and from what I've been led to believe is that this program really geeks for a couple of programs each year, and both of them this year start with T. So they've been working on this one and that next one that starts with T.
Yeah,
a lot.
What do you think about the Stormtroopers? It's a cool icy white, but you killed it with a stupid name.
Stormtrooper. I grew up watching Star Wars. I think we've gone over this, and I never saw a Stormtrooper hit a shot. So,
pew pew. OU 174th in total yards with 339 per game, 193rd in passing yards with 166 yards per game. I would have never thought you would see an Oklahoma team average below 200 in passing. Honestly.
Oh no, me either. And a lot of that's to do with drops, which is crazy. And then not having the time to throw the ball. And a lot of it has to do with
receivers that aren't able to separate,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now I'll say this, Petway, he has dropped a few that look like they could have been, good ones, good long, deep passes. But rushing yards, 108th with 159 a game. But they are tied for 49th in points per game at 33.7. That probably has a lot to do with the 51 against Temple.
And you got to realize they've gotten a lot of short fields.
Sure.
When you're plus minus, what are they, top 10 and plus minus, defensive plus minus. So they got a lot of short fields off turnovers.
Defense is ranked 280 or 49th in total yards. Weren't they talking about being number one defense in the country at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, they said they'd be a top 10 defense in the SEC.
Oh, I heard a couple of guys in interviews say number one.
Yeah.
We feel like we're number one defense in the country. It's still early.
Well, I mean, they're gonna, of course, they're gonna say that, Chuck.
They're tied.
They're gonna say, we think we're middle of the pack.
Tied for 29th in rushing yards, 77 a game. Points, they're tied for 66. So, I mean, it's go time if they want to. I mean, this is a murderer's row. There's no lie about that. It's a run that I don't know.
5 top 10 teams.
Yeah, I mean, obviously some outcomes happen, some teams drop out, but at the beginning of conference play, you're basically taking on half of the top 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, You just got to go out there and give a fight. I mean, because obviously right now Tennessee is ahead, I think, of where Oklahoma wants to be. And, in the trenches. And, I mean, here's the thing, Jeremy. They've got a running back. Is it the Deshaun Bishop? He's averaging 10.1 yards per carry. I think it's either him or Dylan Sampson.
That's going to go down this week.
Who's at 8 yards per carry. They pulled a kid out of Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
That's averaging 10.1 yards per carry.
Okay, Steve.
That's some NIL. That's some NIL, work.
Uh-huh. So, Steve, OU's red zone scoring this season is 100%. They were ranked first in the country in red zone scoring.
Okay. Dan Narva, if you run out of topics later, just kidding. Did anyone see Vandy returner last week step across the goal line to grab the kick from Georgia State and then back into the end zone to down it for a touchback? No, I didn't see that one, Dano.
I didn't either.
But he also said, I'm hopeful that Vols stumble on the road, but agree OU needs to get more effective with the ball. Yeah, here's the thing, Jeremy. It's about these guys who are pretty – they just got Brissett on a grounding. Man, he's going to have some nightmares tonight. Is that Quinnen Williams that's hounding him?
That's pretty much everybody in green that's hounding him. I love this. They have the circle dot target that pops up on a defensive player when they move late.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of times they popped it on the guy just as he's running up towards the line of scrimmage, and he'll get back there and get a sack. It's been pretty awesome.
Yeah. So they declined the penalty. Marty Wandry, Arnold is your leading rusher. Got to get the rushing game going. Yes, and
that comes with a healthy offensive line. They've been patchwork all season.
But also, I mean, yes, you have to. Your offensive line is almost solely responsible for
And
or running
listen,
the ball, but the sacks that he's withstood. I mean, he's going to have to be ready to
and Bill
finance that
Bedenbaugh's
thing
not going to
quickly.
escape my criticism on this. I mean, they've got to be competent. These are guys he recruited. None of them
Yeah,
can play.
yeah, and it's not even, Jeremy, to me about being the most talented offensive lineman. It's about just getting in the way of the dude on the other side.
Yes.
I mean, you can't have
Yeah.
guys taking one step past you before you even come out of your stance. So,
I mean, you got to, do they not? Hey, I know these guys practice. What's
yeah.
going on?
And you should be going against, I mean, in fall camp, you're going against what a lot of people believe is what, a top 5 defensive line.
I'm sure Oklahoma wasn't the only school that offered these kids. So what happened? What's going on with these
I don't
guys?
know.
Is it because they haven't played any football?
But I have a serious question to ask you. Will your optimism level rise the closer to kickoff?
I don't know.
Just out of spite?
It's getting worse as the week goes on.
Well, I listened
Oh,
to,
because the national media has just been hammering
yeah,
on OU all week and talking about how Tennessee could go in there and just name the number. And
sure.
like, last time a Venables defense played against a hyper offense was against Clemson in
Oh
the
yeah,
Russell Athletic Bowl, and it was 40-6.
was that not
That was Trevor
Muleshoe
Knight. That was
OC
Trevor
on?
Knight.
Oh yeah. That
That was the
yeah,
last game that
champions.
Josh was
Was that
in
the
Norman.
Champions Bowl or
That was the Russell Athletic Bowl,
Russell
and
Athletic
that
Bowl?
was the last game that Josh coordinated an offense in Norman.
Yeah. Well, you're exactly right, and it's going to be an interesting dynamic with Josh coming back to Norman. And I said this on Facebook and or on Twitter, but this is a matchup of two coaches that were both let go from by Bob Stoops, but yet
Well,
he walks around Norman unadulterated.
well, I mean, what's he supposed? Is he supposed to fall on the grenade for his coordinators? You do what you can to keep your job, right?
Well, I mean, let's get real about the Venables thing.
Well, yeah, but Venables left because he wanted to explore other
Yeah,
options. He wasn't
it was
let go.
taken away from him.
Josh was let go.
Yeah.
And I mean, other than him hiring the snake, Tebow, it worked out, wouldn't you say? On the offensive side of the ball.
For Venables, it worked out great.
Oh yeah. I
He
mean, he
went to
went and
Clemson, taught him
got
how to
a couple
run a
more
defense,
rings
and got 2 rings, and I mean,
and then came back and got
that's
the head job.
yeah, and that's the thing about it is like with Clemson, the offensive players, Trevor Lawrence, uh, Deshaun Watson, and then Hunter Renfro's 10 years there. I mean, they took all the credit, but it was once they got a defense that they were able to step it up to the next level.
Steve, if Venables, if they do get blown out by Tennessee, his seat will get a little warm, but I don't think it'll get hot. They just extended him, and that's just not the way it happens here.
Yeah, fans ran Brent off, according to many.
That is true.
That's pretty right.
That was that 2012? 2011
Funny
was
thing
his
about
last
it
season here.
is at the end of the Venables era, and then also at the end of the Stoops era, the Mike Stoops era, it was always the next guy up, and in the event of Mike Stoops taking over it, we're going to simplify things. We're going to have our players playing more instinctual.
Uh-huh.
What is it that happened? I mean, are you just inflecting Pythagorean theorems on the
What are we doing
defense
here?
lineman to try to? I mean, no, but I mean, every
you
time there's a
saw.
change, we're going to simplify things. Well, what led you to not have it simplified?
Well, you saw the last couple years, guys just being out of position. The run fits from the linebackers last year was just atrocious. I don't know. I mean, I know it's a difficult system to learn.
Yeah.
But once they learn it, year 3, year 4, it's really good.
I'm going to say this, and this is a lifeline to Oklahoma fans, and which I am one. Um, this is the SEC now. When you're top 10 ranked in the SEC, if you're anybody but Alabama or Georgia, I think you can be on upset alert very easily. There's no reason to think that Tennessee may not be able to handle the pressure. I mean, they had the big win against Alabama at home 2 seasons ago. They didn't do that much last year. You know, I mean, they've got talent. They've got, a great, offensive mind running their program. But, I mean, this is kind of what really the SEC does, is these teams that aren't Alabama or Georgia that go unscathed throughout a regular season find pitfalls along the way. Because here's the thing, Georgia, Bama, Texas, Ole Miss, and Tennessee can't all finish in the top 10 at the end of the season, right?
No.
I mean, it's somebody.
I mean, they're going to beat each other up.
Ooh,
that's just kind of how it works.
Beaten. So, I mean, to say that OU has no chance is wrong. I'll say that. They've got to figure out if they want to hit somebody across the line from them or not. You in with me here?
I am. I'm just looking at total defense rankings from 2012 and 2013.
All you got to do is say research, Chuck.
I'm trying to make the show better, damn it.
Law Dog Sports, the Weekend Big Show, 12 hours earlier, and we'll go till probably around 10 o'clock sometime. But I'll say final prediction for me is going to be 31-24 Tennessee.
And I think I also picked Tennessee, what did I say, 28-21, 28-24, something like that.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So in 2012, which was Mike Soup's first year back in Norman, when everyone was clamoring for Brother Mike to come back, get the band back together.
Yeah.
They were 50th in total defense.
Okay.
Now, in 2013, they were 23rd in total defense, one spot in front of Clemson. And we all know which way those two programs went defensively.
Sure.
Clemson flew past Oklahoma, and Oklahoma had raced to the bottom.
Yeah. Nobody's going to deny that Brent's not a great defensive mind. I mean, and they do have the defense this season to, in most situations, do great things.
It's like two ships passing in the night, We had the great offense for years, couldn't stop anybody. Now we have a good defense, and we don't know what the freaking hell we're doing on offense. Like, what the hell? Yeah. Alabama's talented enough, Lenny. They're going to be really good. That's gonna be a good one in Norman.
The board will be satisfactory down there.
Sure.
No, Here's the thing. Unless Sarkisian or Kirby Smart or Ryan Day reel off some sort of dominance here, we're not going to see the Nick Saban type of domination again.
And I'm not saying DeBoer's not a fine coach. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I want to see what he does with his guys at Alabama. Because now he's got a team full of Nick Saban guys.
What's that, 2 seasons away then?
Yep.
I mean, 2. Yeah.
I mean, is he Mike Shula or is he Gene Stallings?
Well, and there's coaches out there, Jeremy, that we know for sure really benefit from other dudes' players. Basically, anybody.
Pretty much everybody.
Basically, anybody that takes over after Ed Orgeron. And then Houston Nutt.
Sure.
Houston Nutt has never won hardly anything with players he recruited. But, man, when he comes into a place where a guy's recruited pretty well, he shines. So,
yeah. Gene Chizik.
Yeah. Now,
other guys, players in a fat wall and a fat
one thing about it
NIL fund
is either there's a quarterback on campus that you get the most out of, or you bring in your guy and he leads the way. But that's the thing about the argument that Bob Stoops, that they're all John Blake's players. Yes. Were a lot of them recruited by John Blake? True. How many of them were out of position?
Most of them.
I think Frank Romero
Thatcher was a consensus All-American, led the league in the nation in interceptions, and was a great returner.
Yeah.
John Blake had him playing running back.
Just an amazing stick. And then
Jeremy Wilson Guest had him on the offensive line. He was a fine defensive tackle.
Well, Frank Romero, defensive tackle,
Romero,
move him
yes.
over. He's all conference, Big 12. The only thing the last year of the Blake era had right was the defensive backs. Oh, they just got Rodgers. Linebackers and defensive secondary, and then they had to get Torrance Marshall. But anyway, so Josh Heupel comes in. He's bringing in a great squad, and he was the guy. Oh, somebody's down. He was the guy that turned the program around. Lenny Rowland, Marty Wandry says all but the quarterback. They brought in Quentin Griffin in '99.
Yes, he was a Stoops product out of just outside of Houston. Humble, Texas.
Humble, Texas. Aldine Nimitz, I think. How about that for some facts?
How about that?
Quentin was his. Really, I remember the guys that were, and Marty will attest to this because Trent Smith was from Clinton, but I remember seeing Trent Smith, Roy Williams, and I think Damian Mackey sitting around on a couch in that '98 season. It was on a message board somewhere, but there were guys. Yeah.
Mackey was a California kid, came with Roy Williams.
Yeah. So
he had Savage and Fagan. They had Curtis Fagan playing defensive back.
Yeah,
for Blake.
And great clips over the week of Fagan with the deep post route touchdown from Heupel in 2000 and the Nebraska game. So,
good God, what would he have done with Andre Woolfolk? They probably would have had him playing tackle or something.
Oh yeah, he would have put him at will linebacker. Yeah, Andre Woolfolk. I mean, really in that Mike Leach system, a standout receiver, but became a
first round
draft pick as a cornerback. So and then a great catch there by him. Lenny Rowland, NIL has screwed the fan. Players don't stay, and teams are completely revamped every year. I'll say this, and to Lenny's point, you've got to get these guys under contract. If you're going to come and be paid thousands and thousands of dollars, what kind of fool just turns over the money and has no recourse to get it back?
They're like on LeBron James one-on-one deals every single year. Yeah, I'll be here this year, but someone throws me some more cash next year, I'm gone.
Sure.
It's ridiculous. You cannot have unrestricted free agency in an amateur sport.
No.
Every season or every day.
That's the guardrails that they're talking about. Hey, so we talked about OU Tennessee. Let's talk about OSU and Utah, the premier Big 12 game for the Utes. What is a Ute? Here's the numbers for you, Jeremy, on that one. Total yards, Utah 63rd at 430, OSU 47th at 446. Passing, and probably a lot of these passing numbers are a bit inflated from the Tulsa game with Bowman. OSU's 11th in passing at 734 yards. Utah is 104th. Rushing, the Utes are 56th at 192 a game, and OSU is 188. Don't they have a guy who's kind of a renowned running back there in Aggie Orange?
One Oliver Gordon II?
112 a game. And then points scored, Utah is 30th. They're scoring 36 points a game. And OSU is 18th at 42.7. Probably you can look at that overtime game that had some excess scoring there as being a help on that. And then third down conversion, both are, Utah is 138th, OSU 74th. And then defense, Utah, the Utes are 47th in overall total yardage defense at 282. And the Pokes are 240th at 482. So a lot of yards given up by the Pokes, but they are all 3-0. And then Bowman is 322 yards per game at 8 touchdowns on the season. Ollie Gordon, 62 carries for 216 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's a 3.5 yard average. And then Deshaun Stribling is averaging 17.4 yards per catch. That's pretty astounding. Jeremy, this Utah team has a backup who started last week against Utah State, Isaac Wilson. He had a nice game against them. Cam Rising was dealing, I think, with a wrist issue. I'm going to say this. throw the numbers out. It all just matters if Utah can come in and bully this OSU Cowboys team.
Definitely. But yeah, I mean, Kyle Whittingham, that's his calling card.
Oh,
come in, just play defense and play fast. Now, man, if Cam plays, I got to go Utes. But man,
well, they got a 38-21 win over Utah State. That's not that impressive, but
that was their last game. Rising did not play.
Yeah, that was the game that Isaac Wilson started, and they've got several. They've got 4 receivers that all average about 35 to 50 yards per game. So I don't know. Number 12 versus number 14. Pokes are favored by 2.5. That's, I mean, wouldn't you say it's in essence a pick 'em?
That's a pick 'em.
Yeah.
So you get 3 points just for being in the house. So
yeah. Marty Wandry says Utah by 3. Steve Anderson says Ollie is a decoy, damn it. Lenny Rowland says Mike Gundy is now the team mechanic. If OSU pulls this one out and beats Utah, I mean, that's a fast track to the college football playoff, isn't it?
As long as they can handle business the rest of the year, avoid weird games and aims on a Wednesday night.
They're not a team that's known to drop games that they should win.
Sure.
Big 12.
They've never lost to Central Michigan at home.
Yeah. So, I mean, and yes, well, if they win this one and they take, of course, I mean, I say that.
Lenny, we're supporting the kicker. We're supporting the kicker.
They travel to Manhattan next week. So there's your potential pitfall coming off of this head knocker. At BYU, at Baylor, Arizona State, TCU, Texas Tech, and Colorado. Oh, Shadur could light them up at the end of the season. Steve Anderson, too soon, Jeremy. So,
hey, we tailgate with his dad. Okay, so we've kind of watched him grow up by football season, just being there.
Who's this?
Oh, Oklahoma State's kicker, Logan.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'll take OSU. I mean, I think this is a game that they rear their head up and they go out and find a way to win it. I mean, Utah, yeah, they're a rugged team. They play hard-nosed football. Kyle Whittingham, that's his calling card we mentioned. But, I mean, at the end of the day, will their defense be able to handle the skill players that OSU throws out on the field? And will they be able to be multidimensional, and move the ball on a pretty salty Aggie defense? I know the numbers might not be great, but I still think they have players.
Yeah, they do. I want to pick Oklahoma State, but I just got to – is Rising playing?
He is there as far
you know
as
why
he's not listed on any injury report.
This is why the Big 12 is Bush League. Did you get? I got my SEC availability report for the Tennessee game last night.
I heard the guys on KREF talking about the biggest story on a Wednesday is going to be the SEC report.
Yeah,
it does just mean more.
Good God, you know that if Muleshoe was still here, he would find any way he could to circumvent that. Yeah. Every player would be on there as either questionable or doubtful.
Yeah. Well, and Marty Wandry brings up a good fact. It's two seventh-year quarterbacks, and I mean, lack of experience is not going to be an excuse for anybody. If you go out and mess up, it's on you. Of course, Cam Rising, wasn't he committed to Muleshoe for a hot minute?
Yeah, he was committed to Muleshoe, and then he flipped to Texas, and that's where he signed. And they ended up at Utah.
Yeah. He looks like some crazy character from a.
He looks 90s. like he could be one of the Three Musketeers.
Yeah, he's kind of got the Hernando, or who is it? The
Cortez.
Cortez.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I read a Maxim magazine article basically classifying goatees, and Hernando Cortez was mentioned as one, and that's it. The mustache, the little soul patch, and a little chin. So the Cortez.
I read Maxim magazine. I'm hip.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm still cool.
Like to see Colorado lose just to see the dumpster fire that follows. Oh, I think it's a dumpster fire.
It's a dumpster fire
Regardless.
regardless.
Johnny Depp rising. And speaking of the dumpster fire that is Colorado football, Dion calling out reporters for criticizing collegiate players now like they criticize pro players and calling out their salaries being more. And that's, you say Bush League. That's Bush League.
He is such a whiner. Just get over it. Guess what? As long as kids have gotten a scholarship to play sports on television, they've been criticized.
Yeah.
Get over it. Now they're getting paid. It comes with the territory.
Going back, he's one of the guys who's had one of the most tumultuous relationships with the media. I mean, shoot, he hosed down Marty Brenneman or Tom Brenneman with the champagne in the locker room. I mean,
yeah.
And then shortly after that, Nick Castellanos was born.
Yes. Well, and that's his shtick. He acts like he cares. He didn't give a damn about these. He's a charlatan.
You know, and that is something I think is kind of showing itself. And I think people wanted to root for him. I think people wanted to see him kind of flip the script on coaches' relationships with players and things like that. But they've played the disrespect card so much.
That got old last year. I was interested. I want to see what happens if he has another way to do it and can be successful at Colorado. Awesome. You know, that'd be really cool. It'd be nice to see Colorado be good again.
Yeah. I mean,
but I went into Dick's Sporting Goods in Moore, Oklahoma last year, and they've got Coach Prime hoodies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he
markets himself well, but the thing ain't working. It ain't gonna work.
You know, one thing I'll say about the Oklahoma Sooners and their merchandising, licensing, and everything is whoever the company is that produces a majority of their stuff, or any of the stores that sell it, you should have been around this place in 1990. Man, Rodgers really can just put it on a dime when he wants to, can he?
Yeah, he's incredibly accurate.
He's feeling it. Yeah. But in 1990, I was able to purchase, and I was always the Love's truck stop ball cap guy. But in 1990, I was able to purchase a Miami Hurricane and Alabama Crimson Tide cap without ever stepping foot across an OU, during the Gibbs years.
Sure.
So, I mean, but where I was going with it, I don't even remember.
You lost
Colorado. Finding Colorado gear in a Dick's Sporting Goods in Moore, Oklahoma. Here's the thing: that whole deal with the Fowler Nicolosi Fowler, or whatever his name is, from Colorado State. Shadur wouldn't shake his hand after the game. Okay, that guy was popping off all week. That's fine. But it's like I said. I think I said last week with regards to Tyreek Hill's arresting officers or detaining officers, whatever. You live in an era where everything is on video and everything can go viral. Be aware of your surroundings and just shake the hand.
A little grace goes a long way,
Yeah, I mean,
a long way towards. You know what? You shake the kid's hand. There's no story.
I mean,
maybe someone respects you now.
Does he just figure whenever the time that Shadur would go in the draft that Jerry's going to move heaven and earth to go get him?
Oh God, he might. You know how loyal he is to his former players,
because that's the only way I would think that you would have your son, a potential draft pick, act that way.
You know what? And I'm just going to say this because
I'm not even that.
I'm mean-spirited and at heart, I'm a hater. I hope he goes to Carolina.
There you go.
You want to go from the dumpster fire to just a burning tire fire?
Oh yeah.
See ya. Have fun in Raleigh, pal.
What's that GIF? The guy walking in and the whole place is on fire.
Yeah, it's for community.
Yeah.
Donald Glover with the pizzas. Yeah.
Okay. Lenny Rowland, I wanted to see him win. I thought it could be a new model. Lost respect when I heard of the bullying in the locker room. Yeah, I mean, there's been so many
You know, it bugged me when he released it when they did the documentary of when he took the job, and he went in there and basically told every kid that was on the roster, "You're never going to play here.
Yeah.
You need to go ahead and hit the portal."
And didn't he take exception with BV calling him out on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Well,
one's ever
Jeremy,
accused BV of being classless.
Yeah. He's keeping receipts. So, if you're against them when they're down, you better be ready when they're good.
Be ready when he's coaching someone else, huh?
When he's coaching
when he's back at Jackson State or yeah.
Okay, so OSU, Utah, I think the consensus is I'm going to take OSU by 3, probably I'm going to say a 27-24.
Yeah, I'm so back and forth on this thing, but give me the home team. Paddles are going to be banging.
Oh yeah.
And give me the home team by Marty's on it. Field goal. Logan Ward field goal at the end of the game.
Yeah. Go back up, Caleb. Marty Wandry.
Has any team squandered more quarterback? Why didn't you just keep Justin Fields if you're just going to put Caleb behind that porous, leaky offensive line?
According to the pencil neck that works for the L.A. Chamber of Commerce, I thought that line was
that line is horrible,
revamped.
But no, he's got like a couple of really fast guys to throw the ball to, though, Chuck.
Yeah.
He can move around. He's fast.
Roma Dunze. I mean, that's going to be a dumpster fire again. And just think what he's going to be like when it's November. It's howling off of Lake Michigan.
And you feel for Bryce Young.
Talking about Caleb Williams, by the way.
Yeah, we're talking about Caleb Williams, and we'll get back to Caleb. But I really want to talk about Bryce because I think he's a classy kid. He says the right things. He said all the right things since getting benched.
Yeah. So it was announced 2 days ago that he was going to be benched. The Red Rifle will step in Carolina Blue to take over for the Panthers, who are winless on the season.
And you look at the refugees that have escaped from the Carolina tire fire. Sam Darnold just put a whooping on the Niners, playing good football.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold. I mean, he went from the Jets to the Panthers.
Top 10 pick.
Top 10 pick. Jets, Panthers, notorious dumpster fire NFL franchises. Mm-hmm. Got to go back up Brock Heward.
Purdy.
And, and learn. Yeah, Brock Purdy.
Not Brock Heward.
But he got to see how a competent franchise conducts its business, and then he's given the reins in Minnesota after
after Kirk Cousins.
No, yeah, but the kid they drafted from Michigan, JJ McCarthy, goes down for the year with the knee injury.
Yeah,
he's made the start and he's playing great football. I know it's early, but he's playing great football. Baker Mayfield, drafted by the stadium on top of the Hellmouth in Cleveland. Carolina just gives up on him. And
Carolina gave him no shot, which really for him that couldn't have been better. He goes out with who McDonough or what's Rams coach?
Yeah, he went. Sean McVay.
Sean McVay.
McVay goes out there. He's there a day. Yeah. And leads the Rams to a win over the Raiders on Thursday Night Football, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then he ends up in the Bucks. He's the guy after Brady. Yeah. And if you voted for MVP today, he would be the winner.
Probably so. I think everybody's pretty high on Darnold right now as well. And I put out a tweet on Law Dog Sports Twitter that the pencil neck is going to be unbearable if Darnold leads them to the playoffs and if USC somehow wins the Big Ten.
I'm rooting for him. These guys that get drafted by these horrible franchises, man. I feel for them, and when they go somewhere else and play good football, you can say, "See, take that franchise and put it in someone else's hands, or make them do something."
Yeah,
because that ain't working.
Yeah, well, and wasn't Darnold a little punch drunk when he left? Oh,
he was USC? He went to the Jets, who had no line. Yeah. And the famous Monday Night Football, he's looking at the pad and says, "I'm seeing ghosts." because he was just getting destroyed out there on every play.
Yeah. I don't know. The mention on our comments was there's some cursed franchises, Bears, Jets, Browns, and you could throw the Panthers in there. I mean,
and 2-0 starting quarterback Justin Fields with the Steelers.
Yeah. And speaking of, the Steelers defense were basically, several factors on my end. As I mentioned last Friday on the Weekend Big Show, didn't start Baker. I started Tua. He went out quick for Miami. And then Kelsey gave me 1 point. Travis Kelsey gave me 1 point. And then the San Francisco defense decided to let Sam Darnold look like Fran Tarkenton. And then
97-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah. And so I had the San Francisco defense, who's supposed to be stellar, and then the managerless team, which is the automated team that Yahoo entered into our league so that we would have an even number, beat me by 1 point, and partially part of that, and plus A.J. Brown was out, so I was screwed there. But then the Steelers defense gives them 12 points. When was that scheduled to happen?
Hey, I got me a win this week, and I had the most points in the pick'em.
Oh, yes, you did. You
look at that
big time.
You know what I did? I Costanza'd that pick'em.
Just went opposite on everyone.
I went opposite of my instinct.
If every instinct you have is wrong, the opposite would be right. So yeah, you had 18 points on the pick'em week. 18 out of 25 is a pretty solid.
Pretty. Well, I had 2 the week before, so anything is an improvement.
All right, so we did OU Tennessee, we did OU Texas. I want to talk about a player who's been getting a lot of hype this week, and you'll know who I'm talking about when I say the name, but I'm not going to say the name yet. Man, Jacoby Brissett just getting eaten alive. So this quarterback plays for a team, and in their last, they had a big win against this other team's common opponent. So don't Google this, please, okay?
If you're talking about Joe Burrow, I'm so angry.
No. We're back on college.
Oh, okay.
So the quarterback's name is Jordan McLeod. And if you know that name off the top of your head or where he plays, don't say it. Don't look it up either. You don't get back, hands up. Okay, so against this common opponent that they beat 49-10, he was 18 of 27, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He ran the ball 6 times for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. His team beat this team 49-10. His running back that game had 2 touchdowns on 11 carries, 109 yards. The receiver, 2 touchdowns, caught a 60-yarder as well. The reason I say this, the Texas State Bobcats beat the University of Texas at San Antonio 49-10 2 weeks ago. So last week, the University of Texas at Austin defeats the University of Texas San Antonio 56-7, in which Archibald Manning goes 9 for 12 for 223 yards and 4 touchdowns in relief of Quinn Ewers, who also threw for 2 touchdowns. They moved up to number 1 this week, Jeremy.
By beating a bad team.
By beating maybe Kent State and UTSA could be. Of course, it's funny, against Houston Christian this week, Texas San Antonio is 16-point favorite. So I think Houston Christian's FCS.
They are very much FCS.
Yeah, so Southland. But so Texas moves up the rankings, and I get it. Georgia was less than spectacular, but they're going into Lexington.
Playing against a Mark Stoops coach.
Playing against a Mark Stoops defense in an SEC conference game and gets bumped from number 1. And I know the poll means absolutely nothing, but people are so ready just to cup the testes of this Texas team. I mean,
hey, it's ridiculous. I almost said another R word, and I'm not going to say that, but
that'd be better not.
It's ridiculous. It's I don't understand, because Corey Hogue, our good friend, who's now a big time football writer for David Campbell's Texas Football. He was probably one of 2 Texas fans I know that were actually down to earth about what
Realistic.
Texas actually is.
He was more realistic than I was.
They're a 3 to 4 window good team, and they're bad the rest of the time.
Uh-huh.
And they've always been that way.
Yeah.
And I guess they figured they're good now. We better put them at number one because it's Texas.
Yeah.
They're going to get some of that puff fund. I mean, what's going on?
Get ready for the target on your back. I mean, Louisiana Monroe's already talking mess.
General Booty's going to trash them.
General Booty and the whatever they are. Are they a Native American mascot?
It's Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah.
They're not the Cajuns. Mud Dogs? No, that's something else. Bobby Boucher gonna get him.
So yeah, there's already been some audio clips rolling around, and I'm sure it'll work as motivation for. Thing is, Texas has a defense this year. They do have a defense.
They're a good team,
but they didn't do anything to UTSA that Texas State didn't do, and then Texas State goes and beats. No, Arizona. They lost Arizona State. Sorry,
they lost by a field goal to Arizona State.
So I mean,
so what's that tell you?
Yeah, that Texas couldn't win the Big 12.
Well, they only won it 4 times in like 20 years.
They won it last year. I get it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I mean, so everybody, and now it's a quarterback controversy because the kid's name is Manning. If that had been, dang it, Jeremy, I never can remember the kid that transferred out.
Gilbert.
No, the kid that's at Duke now.
Oh, good Lord. The big kid that looks like a tight end.
Yeah, not Malachi.
No, I know who you're talking about. Oh my gosh, what is his name? Crap.
Well, if it were that kid that were there last year as part of the quarterback room, there would be no talk of a quarterback controversy of, well, if the kid plays really good against Louisiana Monroe.
Malik Murphy,
thank you.
I think, and like I told you, I'm a hater.
Mm-hmm.
The question needs to be asked: is Quinn Ewers soft? Is he injury prone?
That's going to be a question asked at his draft day, at his combine, right?
I mean, he hurt himself handing the football to another player.
Well, or is he catching some greenback on giving little Archie?
Nah, I don't know, but he may be he may have spent the night in lockup because I think him and McConaughey went and had some of that Willie Nelson stuff after the game. At least that's what they were talking about on the sideline.
Oh, but he's a big Christian, isn't he?
Minister of Culture.
Yeah. But, I mean, so I just wanted to compare some numbers for you because Jordan McLeod did just as much against the Roadrunners as both the Texas quarterbacks, but we're not talking about. I mean, here's the thing: you want to rank
because he plays for Texas State, he doesn't play for UT.
You want to rank him number one? That's fine. It's the big
crown him
season. You want to crown him. But basically, you're going to find out whether or not, because I'm sorry, this Michigan team, Lincoln could go in there and blow the doors off of them.
I know. And how funny would it be if they didn't?
I'm thinking it'd be funny if they did.
Hate. Oh, I know.
I hate you. I don't even know you, and I hate your guts. No, but I mean, it would be. So finally, they got Drake May warming up.
Oh, good. Yeah.
But
why do you want to get him killed?
Yeah, let's go out and get him rattled. Kill that confidence. But no.
Can you go play quarterback for the Jets for a couple of series?
To me, it would be funnier for Michigan to just get throttled at home twice.
It would be. But I don't want Lincoln Riley to have any joy or success.
But I didn't want Sarkisian either, and they went up there and did it. So who cares now? But Michigan's a dirty program. I mean, they are
a dirty program.
TCU now of stealing signs in that playoff game.
Well,
Sonny handled them.
Well, Sonny said they didn't steal signs. Sonny said he changed his signs leading up to the game because he knew what Harbaugh was up to.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know.
He got his money. So maybe Marty's siding with me on the Quinn getting paid to sit.
And you know something else? If you're stealing signs in real time,
yeah,
go for it. That's great.
What can you do?
Huh?
I mean, now they have in-helmet communication, but
Right, but I mean, then you
right?
didn't. Well, now you'd have to you'd probably call Sean Payton and figure out how they were tapping into the visitors' press box.
Yeah. I don't know. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Heard that years.
Lenny, nobody wants to see either one of those programs win that is an Oklahoma fan.
Yeah, that you talk about. And here's the bad thing.
And I hated USC before Lincoln went there. So,
Sure.
I was, I was on the ground floor of that.
You think about that Rose Bowl, that class, the most classic game ever. And if if Texas doesn't beat them, then USC's flirting with the win streak.
Well, yeah, but they probably still got it if you just count regular season games because we do that now.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, but so anyway, I just wanted to point that out. What do you got as far as some games this week that we ought to take notice of? I've noticed that TCU is only a 2-point favorite over the Ponies. They're both 2-1 on the season. And what's that? The Iron Skillet Bowl, the Iron Skillet game?
Yes. I like
Stadium,
SMU to figure it out in that game.
All 30,000 fans there will be fired up and ready to roll.
I like SMU to figure it out that game, but I'm going to pick TCU because my instinct, I'm going to do the opposite.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see SMU roll in that. Tulsa is at Louisiana Tech. They're a 3-point dog. North Texas, a 7-point favorite at home against Wyoming. Man, I would have thought some of the Josh Allen NIL, alumni contributions would have helped the Cowboys a little more.
Is that program about as well off financially as Hawaii?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is they're up there in an area where every other team around them is playing playoff games in mid-December.
Yeah. I know it's a nothing burger of a game. I'm interested in the NC State Clemson game.
Yeah, that
because I want to see if NC State is. I want to see them. I want to see them with my eyes because they were ranked 22nd in the preseason, and have they won a game this year? Clemson's favored by 18.5 points.
Yeah, North Carolina State's 2-1.
Okay, well, they beat Louisiana Tech and they beat Western Carolina.
Yeah,
and they were not impressive in either of those wins.
No, I noticed this week. I don't think that the college football pick'em let me pick Ohio State for most points.
Oh, K-State at Kansas at West Virginia.
Yeah, I think I took Kansas to bounce back. Kansas State travels to Provo to take on BYU. They're a 7-point favorite. And then Baylor goes to Boulder to take on Shadur and the Buffs. Colorado is a 2-point favorite. So I think Dave Aranda probably goes up there and abuses them.
Yep. Conard's Hogs are going to Auburn. Auburn is a 2.5-point favorite.
Steve Anderson's sleeper game of the week is BYU versus K-State. Wildcat versus yeah, that's another Wildcat game, isn't it? Oh, no, it was BYU the Panthers.
BYU are the Cougs.
Cougs. So same cat, just different phrasing, right?
Sure, yeah.
Sleeper game, BYU K-State. Lenny Rollins says, let's go BYU. Jeremy from Marty Wandry, I got to make some bets, so I need to know who you like so I can bet the other way.
Well, if you go to the Yahoo app and you look at the team that has the green line, really, really think about that, and then probably just go chalk.
Arkansas goes to the Plains to take on Auburn, and then USC is a 5-point favorite at the Big House. And does Vanderbilt come in and hang with Missouri to the tune of less than 20 points?
What's the line on that?
20.
20? Yeah, Vandy's going to get in there.
Because BC might have beat them up a little bit last week.
Yeah, man, I don't want to give Missouri any credit, but they're probably going to cover that game.
How about Florida State getting 2.5 at home against the Bears of Cal?
0-4.
Did you see the video? It's been around forever. It's the Hitler movie.
Yeah.
With the captions.
In
And it's
German, yeah.
basically Mike Norvell. They're playing. They've threatened to come in and turn this into bear country.
Hey, Youngstown State at Pitt.
God, when is Ole Miss going to play someone? My God, they're playing Georgia State. I mean,
they're just not going to get their. They're just not going to have their late season cupcake.
Yeah.
We got Maine like the week before Alabama.
Yeah. Here's one that will interest me, Jeremy, and it was a train wreck to watch last week, but Billy Napier takes his Florida Gators into Starkville. Both teams 1-2. Mississippi State under Jeff Levy could be one of the worst teams in the country, but they could come out of that one with a win.
They won't.
Okay.
Take the Gators.
Okay.
I don't think Levy is underwater. I mean, he doesn't know. That poor guy.
Iowa State hosting Arkansas State, 21-point favorite. Houston travels to Cincinnati. UTSA hosts the Cougars. No, I'm sorry, that's Houston Christian. My bad. UTEP travels to Colorado State. Jay Norvell tries to get back on the winning trip. And then what was the other one that I had? Oh, Texas A&M hosts Bowling Green. Bowling Green could give them a game, Jeremy.
They probably can.
I'm serious.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to take us into Tuesday night action, which I desperately need. But
I mean, Bowling Green hung with Penn State at Happy Valley.
Bowling Green, I mean, they're a sneaky good program. They recruit well in that area.
They lost their kicker to Alabama, but
yeah, well, I mean, they paid. Hey.
I'm going to say this, Jeremy. We seem to be a little more fired up on Friday morning. So
I've been at work all day dealing with stupid people.
And I've been game prepping all day, but we went tonight because I've got to be on the road to Pauls Valley tomorrow for Weatherford football. So I'll be calling that tomorrow night on Weatherford Eagles TV at right.
Hold on, I'm going to pull up Ole Miss's schedule.
Yeah.
So let's see. They don't have a late season cupcake, so they got all four of their. They got all
theirs. Is that the same for Texas?
I don't know, but see, after the Georgia Southern game, Ole Miss has Kentucky, at South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi State. That's a playoff schedule.
Texas won't have a late mid-November cupcake game either.
Good.
They finished their November with Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Texas A&M.
Good.
So they've got one.
But they do have Vandy in there.
They've got Georgia coming to DKR on October 19th, a week after they play in the Red River rivalry. So.
Hey, does Brother Levy do us a solid in that game before the OU game?
Hurt somebody.
Yeah. Tempt them with the wiles of Art Briles.
Yeah, exactly.
Dangle that Briles magic in front of them.
And that's in DKR too. So all of their tough games are at home.
Yeah, they
go to Fayetteville and they go to College Station. So
look at them. They don't leave the state.
No.
Until they go to Nashville.
No. It worked out perfect for them.
Yeah.
For where Sarkisian has that program. Hey, so what's on the golf tick? What do we got golf wise coming up? Are they about to start playing some real golf?
The majors are all over.
Well, I know the majors are over, but
we should have some
there's some Davis Cup or
World we got the Davis Cup coming up.
Yeah. When is that?
Oh man. You had to ask me about golf. I've been ignoring golf because I really want to get out and play. Let's see, 2024 PGA Tour schedule. What is today? September. Their President's Cup is next weekend.
Okay, so next weekend we'll
26th to the 29th.
We're both going to have to dive into some of that. So, anyways, looks like the Jets will win 24-3. Aaron Rodgers already walking around with a pretty good smirk on his face on the sideline. Drake May in the game. So
that's from the ayahuasca.
Yeah. Dan Narva, Illinois at Huskers tomorrow night. That's a Friday night game. That'll be fun. And best two games this week are in Oklahoma. Our Oklahoma team, since Michigan is deflated, that's Lenny Rowland. He's right about that. Yeah, I think Muleshoe goes in there and just blows their doors off.
Yeah, I do too.
If their defense is capable of playing half as physical as they did against LSU. And I know that's the thing about Michigan, even under Sharon Moore, they're a physical running team, big defensive.
But we saw that offense, and they are not.
Yeah,
it's just way too one dimensional. I guess they're starting the orgy kid, not the walk on this week. So
yeah,
but still,
I'm calling for a USC blowout on that, and it's just building up for Texas and USC, the big glamour brands in American football. Hey, hats off to the San Antonio Missions. Love that hat.
Yeah. I've been scouting out interesting minor league baseball caps, so there may be a few more in the future.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much for jumping on a Thursday night. We're 12 hours early of our normal time, but it's still a lot of fun to jump on with you and talk football. I tried to go in a little more in depth on stats, and that probably bored a lot of people.
That's okay. I was trying to, and you called me out for it.
Well, I just didn't want you to jump the gun on Jordan McLeod and those Texas State Bobcats. Hey, have a great weekend, buddy.
All right, you too.
Saturday night, do you want to try to do the wrap up?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
We'll play it by ear, and I'll put something out on Facebook and let everybody know.
Cool.
All right, he's Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who chimed in on the comments on the Facebook Live. We appreciate you very much. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and TikTok at Law Dog Sports. And then also listen to our podcast, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. Also, you can see this video on YouTube. Leave us a message on the website, lawdogsports.com. Have a great weekend.
Drake Mays just